Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition, episode 9. Wow, episode 9 here on KSN Podcast, the Kurt Social Network. I'm your host, Kurt the Magnificent. Tonight, we have a good guest coming up. I know him for some time now. He's at my alma mater high school. I was in the Hamilton. He coaches for the Lady Red Raiders. And he's going to come on, give us his story, from the beginnings, how he grew up, and with coaching now, and he's also an educator in the community. So let's give a hand for the Lady Red Raiders coach of ours in the Hamilton, Mr. Coach, sorry, Coach Henry Hennep. Let's give a hand for him.
Hey, what's up? Thank you. It's a great opportunity, man. I really appreciate you. I love what you're doing here. What you was still out there coaching with us and banging with us, but you're always in our heart. And it's great. It's great that you're still involved, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Henry. Hennep, I usually call him Hennep, so
it's all good. It's going whatever.
I'm not gonna call you Henry no more. But no, I appreciate that. Thank you for joining. This is gonna be great. A lot that we're gonna talk about, a lot that probably people don't know, and I don't even know, and you can share with us about yourself. So we can start from the beginning with you, Coach Hennep.
Yeah.
Talk about the beginnings, growing up first. Where you from?
Yeah, I'm from Long Island. I'm a Long Island kid. So this whole Westchester is very new to me, but you guys have welcomed me with open arms, and I appreciate that a lot. But I started in Long Island. I went to Half Hollow Hills High School West. That's in Suffolk County, Long Island. There's some good basketball players that went up and through there. Tobias Harris, probably the most notable. And we had Emil Blackman and a couple other guys that just really just propelled the culture. My coach is still there, Bill Mataratona. I mean, when it comes to building culture and building team atmosphere, I took a lot from him growing into this coaching thing. I started coaching under him too. I remember when I graduated, I played, 3 years varsity basketball there, big AA school. And I went off to play college basketball at Clarkson University, upstate New York in Potsdam. And, you know, his biggest thing, he was a young guy coming in, and Bill Mataratona, he came and he built culture, and he really taught me what it is to keep a program cohesive and together and not compete and lose ego and things of that nature. And, I played basketball 4 years in college, once under Tobin Anderson and after Adam Stockwell.
Tobin Anderson, he used
Yeah,
to coach
yeah,
at St. Thomas Aquinas.
Thomas Aquinas,
The Iona, yeah.
So he was the one that recruited me. He recruited me there, and we had a really good relationship. And it's funny because you never realize, like, where life leads you, right? And I started teaching, and I got into that. And when I got out of college, my mom's like, look, you don't got health insurance yet. You gotta go get a job, whatever. And I said, okay, I called your high school. You got a paraprofessional. I was a paraprofessional. And, Bill Mataratona and all my coaches, I was coaching football, I was coaching basketball, I was doing like the modifieds and all of that. And they just brought me into that realm. And I was like, yo, I could really do this. I think, if I teach and I coach, like I get the best of both worlds. So you never want to just leave basketball. After college, you feel like that competitive nature is over. Like it don't matter how many men's leagues you play, unless you're playing in the NBA. It's just, it doesn't give you that same severity. Like you don't have that. So coaching was the next thing for me, because it's like I need my heart to pump like that again. Feel that heat. And so, I went from, Hills West, which was a great program, and I learned a lot. I was a leave replacement, and then, I had to make some real money. I went to the city a little bit, and then I went to Uniondale High School, and I taught there, and I was coaching under Coach Tom Diana. And Uniondale is a big basketball school, especially when it comes to boys basketball. Zion Styles, I think he runs through some of the Ferrises and all these things up there. He was one of my players, and Danny Ashley, Craig, there's a bunch of them. And that taught me how to really coach. Like, that was the thing. So like where Bill Matarotona taught me how to build and be a team guy and be selfless and do all these things, when it came to the X's and O's and how to actually run a program seriously with great efficacy, Tom Diana taught me that. And best of both worlds, and I ended up here at Alexander Hamilton, and I just want to bring that same intensity to the girls that I was with the boys.
So good that you got that out the way, because that was some of my notes was going to bring up, which is great. You brought up all your career through high school, college, and then even you're starting your coaching career and your education. Let's go back real quick. Growing up in Long
Mhm.
Island, basketball. What made you get into basketball? What was the thing about that growing up?
Yeah, well, I got a 6'7" dad with a size 17 shoe. He played at Rider University, then he transferred to New York Tech, met my mom and did the whole thing. And he never really forced us into basketball, but he loved to play himself. So he was playing in a Hoop It Up. I don't know if you remember Hoop It
Hoop it
Up,
up.
but
Yeah, yeah. He used to
yeah,
do it in the
yeah.
summertime. I played it
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
city.
absolutely.
Yeah, I was
So,
a young
he
boy.
used to
Yeah.
him and his boys. So what they would do is that they would wake up dumb early in the morning and they'll play like pickup, right? But they'll pick teams like threes and fours, like 3-on-3 with a sub, because they was older, whatever. And those dudes would then sign up for Hoop It Up and they'll go into Hoop It Up. Well, I was my dad's tag along when I was younger, so I would be on the side courts playing, yada yada, and that's where I met a lot of my boys, etc. One of my boys, Antoine Agudio, he played at Hofstra. I think he just got to the Hall of Fame over there. Amazing player. We just be in the side courts, just playing and being kids, right? And then, after we got into it, we got into AAUs and high level AAU and Minutemen Press and which was my AU team, and being ranked and going to all these tournaments and traveling. And my dad played, so he was very into like, yo, go ahead, like do your thing. And my dad played, my brother played, my dad's cousin played, his son played, which is my cousin. So we had a lot of basketball in our family, and we played a lot. I remember me and my dad, we took no Christmas gift, no birthday gift for me and him, no whatever other gift that we supposed to get. And while my dad was getting the driveway of our house paved with asphalt, he asked the guys to dig a half court in our backyard. And he paved the half court. And then me and him took the pole from we went to Sports Authority and put that joint in the cement.
Sports
And to this
Authority. You
day, that
brought it
joint is
back.
still up. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, yo, you
Uh,
know how crazy it is when you about 8 years old and you ain't get no gifts, no gifts under the tree or whatever, because you knew that was outside. You would shovel that drain, and that was the staple. Every kid in the neighborhood will come out there, will go play, little half court. His boys will come over and they'll play. And so, basketball was in my blood. And I really don't know life without it. I've been doing it forever. My dad's been the greatest example of just being a solid dad, never badmouthed the coach, never did any of those things. He always let the coaches coach. He always, he coached a little bit himself in the AAU. That's when he'll talk to you. He was just one of those guys. And my dad, he still talk about the girls today. He'd be like, yo, how they doing? I want to drive up there, but it's dark and I can't get up there. I'm a little old, but he always asking about the girls. He's always following. I remember when he was a little younger, he used to drive. I used to coach at Christopher Columbus High School in the Bronx, and I was coaching boys, and he would drive a couple of days out of the week all the way from Long Island to Christopher Columbus just to help me coach, because he knew I was doing it by myself. They rolled me out 4 dusty balls in a AA city Bronx program. I was like, win something. They ain't never win a game in the last 3 years, you know, and I made them win about 3 or 4 of those. So, it's one of those things where I was built to build programs. And I'm just glad I got the opportunity here at Hamilton.
Now, you went through that through growing up, playing, and you talked about high school, and then you talked about college, and then now you're becoming an educator, trying to get something going for yourself while
Yeah.
you're doing coaching on the side. you leave from Christopher Columbus and you come up to Alexander Hamilton now.
Hmm.
But before we get to that, talk about being an educator first.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I didn't want to be an educator. My mom's a speech pathologist. She retired, and I was in the sciences. My degree was in neuroscience. Biology and cognitive neuroscience. So I wanted to be in the lab. I wanted to do all this stuff, etc. But I always was coaching AAU with my dad. I was always around my little brother when he was playing, and like again, you know, he played with Tobias and he played with all these other guys, and a lot of my boys was playing. Danny Green, one of my good friends, and we talk and chill, and just basketball was just always a part of me. I just never knew something without it. Um, and so when it came to teaching, my mom was like, "Yo, you gotta go do something. Like you can't wait for these jobs or whatever. Go to your old high school, become a paraprofessional." And I was working with nonverbal children with autism, and it was eye opening. I was there. I didn't know that kids like this literally existed within the schools that I was going to at the time. They're in a separate program, separate room. They travel from class to class when other classes are already in session, so they're not in the big crowds. I didn't even know that. It was like a ninja education system. Like I didn't even know they moved them in and out of the rooms. No one ever really saw them, and I was like, yo, I like this. I don't know if I could do that. It was very heavy on my heart. So I don't know if I could have did that. But I was like, yo, I do love science. And I get to talk to kids about science. I do like giving back to my community. My dad, they have a Concerned Fathers Association and Mothers Club of Wheatley Heights, and they're doing Black History programs and Kwanzaa programs. So I was always involved in my community. And then as I got older, I felt that there was a need. Like I never had a black teacher that was on the ground with me. I had black administrators, I had black principals, I had black deans. Never had a black teacher, right? Maybe one or two, maybe, right? And so I was like, you know what? That's needed. Like
Definitely.
just to see, like, everybody thinks you gotta shoot a jump shot, you gotta be a rapper, you gotta be a doctor, you gotta be a lawyer. They don't ever see, like, yo, Mr. Adam doing well. He a teacher. He got his little Challenger and he got this other Jeep Wrangler, and he's chilling and he got the sneakers. Maybe that's not a bad life, you know?
Right.
And so I always felt that that was a need where kids needed to see a regular working person in a regular life, and where I could affect kids the most. And I've moved kids into college. Parents couldn't take them. I threw all the stuff in the back of my truck at the time, drove them up to Old Westbury from the Bronx.
Mm,
I've done a lot when it comes to, like, just kids in general, because I know kids need that push and that help. And so from there, it was only right to become a coach, because people sacrifice their life, and their time for me, and for me to realize my dreams. Why not pay it forward? And that's really where the teaching comes in. And I love it. I've been teaching for 16 years. um Multiple schools, from charter school to public school to crazy high stakes. I've seen the worst of the worst. I've been in the worst of the worst areas. I've been in the best area. And uh it it's all worth it. I do. I don't take nothing back from it. I'm a lifelong teacher. I'm not trying to change careers. This is what I'm doing. So,
and
you know,
you're doing a good job from what I'm
I
hearing and
appreciate
what
it.
I've seen.
I
You're doing a good
appreciate it.
job. And real quick before we get back into the coaching, where are you
Mhm.
from? What city and town you from?
So I'm from Wheatley Heights, Long Island.
Okay.
So a lot of people think it's right next to Wyandotte. It's right by Deer Park. It's right by Dix
Uh,
Hills. It's right in the middle. It's Wheatley Heights, Long Island, a small community of just great professionals who really pay it forward, and try to make a difference. And I appreciate my whole community and all of the organizations and everything like that that helped me get to where I am. So, yep, Wheatley Heights, Long Island.
Great, 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 great. See, I didn't know all this, so
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
good. Now everybody get to know about Hennep, where you really
yeah,
from, and where you
yeah,
had growing up in the beginnings, and now
absolutely.
and now we're gonna get to the present days,
Yeah,
or coming up the Westchester, coming up our area, up
yeah,
yeah,
it was a
So
change.
yeah, I
It was a
know it
change.
was.
It was
And
a change.
what year you started at Hamilton?
Oh man, I think it was 2021 that year. It's like right after that COVID year.
Hmm.
Right after that COVID. So it's like 2020, 2021.
Okay.
Um, and it's crazy. I didn't know anything about up
I,
here
I know you didn't, and I know at
at
the
no
school, and I'm gonna tell you right now, when you first got there, keep it real. You probably didn't think our school and our community didn't have, wasn't big or noticeable. And I know once after a while, you notice a lot of history in our
Oh yeah,
area.
you know what? You know what it is too. I always say that this community is like the community I grew up in, but y'all had your own school.
Okay, you didn't have
So
your own school.
yeah. So my community, a lot of African American, a lot of Hispanic, a lot of, like very multicultural, but middle class, very middle class, ready to grow. And but we went to a bigger school. We went to a bigger school where there was more people and yada yada yada. It's like
Right,
if
right.
us, Woodlands and Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow all combined and we had a school, right?
Gotcha.
So um I came in, I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. I liked, how the board was looking at the time, and I liked how, the teachers that were there, some of the teachers that was there, um, and I like that there was kids that I could relate to. And I felt that it was cool. It was a very tight knit community, and I wasn't used to a small community, but I know how being in a very gentrified area of Long Island, where it's like your small community, even though it had blended to a big community, you still had small community vibes, and
Yeah,
this had a very small community vibe, and
yeah.
I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it right away, and I felt like I could make some sort of a difference, any which shape or form I can. So, yeah, it was an eye opener. It was definitely an eye opener, but I felt at home. I never felt outcasted right away. I felt
Right.
like everybody brought me in right.
And
Um,
you do it, and you're making a difference now.
yeah,
You
I
now you
appreciate
and you're coaching. The lady Red Raiders.
it.
I was in the Hamilton basketball. Matter of fact, right now they're in the playoff hunt.
Yep,
They're
yep.
top seed in their Class B division,
Hmm.
and they're getting ready for games coming up.
Damn.
So talk about the season so far going on 2020. Well, before we get to that, talk about the
Yeah,
first 3 or 4 years before getting to
yeah.
this. Because
It's funny.
I'm gonna get at you because remember what I told you. I said this group that's coming
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah. You did.
You better do what you got to do. I
Yo,
told you.
yo, and I'm making good on it so far.
You are, but you still got to get that goal. You better bring that goal this year.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that's the thing I want the most. Um, you know, it's different because I was coaching really big basketball in Long Island, and everybody kind of knew me from either me playing, me coaching, me being around the kids, me helping train, yada yada yada. I come here, nobody knows me from Adam. It's like, who is this dude coming in? He's getting coaching jobs right away. He's you know he's trying to make something out of whatever we had at the time, which was not much at the time, excuse me. But when I came up here, I mean, I remember I told my dad, I said, hey, man, I'm a coach girls basketball. My dad goes, Henry, please don't get fired. That was he said, yo, the way you be coaching these boys, you coach hard. You are at them. You telling them that they ain't ready yet, or you ain't need to do this, so they need to. He said, you can't do that over there to the girls' room. And what I did notice, and it's funny because I used to go to training, and there was a trainer, a really famous trainer down in Long Island. His name was Jerry Powell, and all these NBA guys will go through there and they'll talk to him. But his biggest clientele was girls. And I was like, yo, but this dude is off the words that he would say during a training session or whatever, he was off the chain. But girls, the parents love that. And I said, yo, what is the difference? And when I started looking, and when I'm coaching girls, and I'm blessed to have some of the best parents, just understanding, they might think I'm crazy at times or whatever, or they might not agree with everything I do, but they do understand that I treat their girls no different than on the boys' side. I'm a little bit more caring about certain things, but I coach them up. I coach them with expectation. I coach them with some intensity. And I think that they appreciate that because, you know, we go there with a bunch of girls, and we're young black men, and we hold back a little bit. We might say, not too much. This might be a little bit too much, right? But the fact that they work that hard, and I could go ahead and make sure and give them expectations. Not a lot of coaches get that, especially in that realm, right? A
Right.
lot of them are on eggshells. And so I've been very blessed to have girls that are going to say, all right, you know what? Yeah, I do need to get better. Yeah, I do need to. And, we may argue or disagree or whatever, but, the parents keep letting them come back, and they keep coming back from year to year. And, from what I started with after COVID, which was much of nothing, I built as much as I can, and testament to these girls, where I built it up to where they crave this. They
A
want,
culture, a
you know,
culture.
a culture where I'm like, yo, we about to run. Like today, I said, hey, we got to run these 5 in a minutes to get our stamina up, to get in shape. Girls like, how many? I was like, yo, we need about 5. All right, we got it. Let's do it. And they
Right.
know they hate it. I know
Right.
they hate it.
Right.
So that was big for them.
This season, 18-2, and
Yeah,
getting, like I said, top seed, getting ready to go into the playoffs.
yeah,
Um, so talk about the season, going in, getting ready for it now. How the season went down.
yeah. I mean, the season was crazy. We ended off last year with a loss to Valhalla. A lot of the girls felt that they should have won. We got in the gym, we got ready, yada yada. We had lost J.O. Oliva, which was our standout player from her sophomore year. We missed her last year. And word on the street, she was coming back. I said, all right, I'll see it when I gotta see it to believe it. She ended up being in school the first day of classes. I said, okay, now we got a little bit of we got a little boost. And I wanted to make sure that the girls were together. And this is where I took from Bill Mataratona back then when I went, from high school, or when I was coaching with him. He used to do this thing called Jersey Night. And so, it was like a little potluck, and everybody came in. I presented the jersey. I said something nice. All the parents got to meet each other. That was like our parent meeting. That was what we had with the girls. We broke bread, we ate, we conversed. Everything was good. I talked about college. I talked about recruitment. I talked about grades. I talked about expectations, everything. And it just brought the girls together, where it was like, you know, this girl had come in, people had to change their roles, things were different. Even Kiara, I had to tell her, like, hey, you can't play this position. She gonna play this, but you gonna play this, and you got to get ready for this. And accepted her role and was ready to go. And I give that a credit to all the girls that were there last year for accepting their new role, or change role, or even increased role, and they all embraced it. And in the beginning, it was a little rough. But then all of a sudden, after our second loss, the girls were like, we need to start playing for each other. And we need to start going out there, and they're having fun together. Sometimes I can't get them to be quiet in practice or whatever. They always talking and dancing and da 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 da. Then I got to make them run and do all these things just to get them back focused. But they're so together and it's so cohesive that there's certain times where I don't really say much, or I don't really have to, that is already instilled. They play for each other, they play for the seniors, they love them, and that's a good thing to see. It's like, okay, I built this culture, but they're running with it. They're running with it, and they're doing a great job. And since that second loss, we haven't lost. And and we wrapped around and beat the two teams that beat us, Tucker Hall and YMA. And it's all a testament to their focus, and how hard they're playing, and how they're playing for each other, and how they don't want another moment to be wasted.
Right. Right.
They're ready. They want to be there for each other. They want to send these seniors off with a bang.
and
So
and definitely, I see the moment It's right there in front of you. You know, and I talked to you about, I
Yeah,
go
yeah,
back. The moment is right there, and
yeah,
it is
man.
right there for you.
Yeah, man.
I hope y'all get that gold ball for
Yeah,
yourself, for the school, for the community,
absolutely.
and it's
I
right
appreciate
there.
And
And I really wish y'all luck, for real, no
I
doubt.
appreciate it.
Right. You got a good group there. Shout out to Cassidy Williams, Sanaya
Yeah.
Nichols, Kiera Sorrell,
Yep. Samaya
Gabrielle,
Blackman,
Gabriella
Gabrielle
Harper.
Harper,
Yeah,
J.O.
yeah,
Oliva.
yeah. Yeah. Cause I know them names because I remember them girls. I
Yeah.
remember. I got a quick story before we go, real
Yep.
quick. Gabrielle Harper. I never
Mhm.
forget this. Long time ago, I used to do a 3-on-3
Uh-huh.
clinic at Greenberg, the community center, Theodore Young Community Center, in the back park of Yosemite Park. We'll do the 3-on-3 in the summertime, and this girl playing like a Candace Parker, dribbling the
Yeah.
ball. I mean, she didn't
She
care,
a
but
fireball, man.
she was playing with the boys. Like
Yeah.
she was better than some of the kids. And this is like an
Yeah.
8-year-old probably back then, 8, 9-year-old. And I'm like, who is this? Gabriella
Uh-huh.
Harper. I never forget it.
Yep.
Gabriella
Yo,
Harper, man.
she a
Let me tell you
she a
something.
great player, and
Great.
I'm blessed to have her as a senior. And she's such a leader. And it just starts. It starts there. It starts there. It starts with that dedication, that example, and it runs through the whole team. And we got lucky with a transfer with Samaya Blackman, and she fit in
Yes.
well. You
Yes. Shout out
know,
to somebody. Yes.
freshman,
Yes. Yes.
they on there
Yes.
6 feet tall, whatever. And she's there. And everybody's just in. They want to play. They want to be better, and they want this. They want this as much as I do. So
Yeah.
let's go get it, right?
Yes. Again,
Yeah.
shout out to JL Lever. You talked about it. That's definitely, she probably gonna be Class B Player of the Year. I haven't seen the things though.
Listen, man, I always feel like they never give Hamilton their real respect, but yeah, if you look at it, that's what it should be. But
Mhm.
hey, we're ready to go. We're ready to go at any minute.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Hennep, man, I appreciate you coming out in this interview,
oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
talking. Maybe we could talk some more, man. Whatever,
Yeah.
depends on the future in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Come
then I
back.
have like a big gold ball here, something like
Yes.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
and then we can
Yes.
talk for real.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I thank you for inviting me on this show. I thank you for letting me tell my story. This is very important. I'm thankful for what you're doing and how you putting everything together, and still staying locked in with the community, with everything that you've been doing for us and everything. I appreciate it, man. And you deserve your flowers too. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's for all of us. Everybody who's going to be watching, for who's coming on here, this is for all of us, because
Absolutely.
there's stories that need to be told that nobody's coming to tell or ask to get those stories, and I'm
Yeah.
going to ask to get those stories. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
And I
I'm gonna keep it
appreciate it.
real. I'm not naming no names. I'm not going to do that. But they ain't no big name or somebody that been talking to other people. They haven't come to talk to y'all yet that I put
Yeah.
on. So I'm going to
Yep.
bring it up, and I
And
hope. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
no,
Coach.
and I catch that. I catch that. I'm glad you caught that. And hey, it's all good. It's all good. We'll go out there and we'll keep trucking and we'll keep making a name for ourselves. And as long as people like you keep putting us in the limelight, we're gonna keep coming and supporting. So I appreciate that.
Thank you again, Coach.
Yeah.
Until next time, like I said, we can get you again, hopefully. And
Yeah.
everybody's watching, thank you again. This is another special edition from the KSN podcast, Kurt Social Network. I'm your host, Kurt the Magnificent, once again. Peace, love. Yeah, I know. Have a good night, y'all.
All right, brother.